Fireside chat. Hey, Cassidy. I figured by now you would turn on the Netflix like fire video on that TV behind you to like really set the mood. But I
I
think
should.
yeah, but we'll have a shovel side chat. So we got the shovel in the background here, and maybe we'll get the story on that. I'm assuming a groundbreaking of some sorts. But I'll get out of your way, Cassidy. It's your show.
Thank you. Thank you. Tony, how are you doing?
Cassidy, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing really, really well. Great. Well, we don't have too much time, so let's go ahead and get it started. But for those attending who might be new to your company, can you give us a brief overview of what BioHiTech does and kind of where you fit into the waste management industry?
Sure, Cassidy. I'll even explain the shovel in a little bit. We bring technological solutions to the problems of waste that affect us on this planet. You really, I like to think about it as two different lines of business, one that attacks food waste, and it attacks it both at the inception and in the disposal of the food waste. We do that through a piece of equipment we call a digester that is coupled with technology that allows you to measure what you're throwing away and allows you to then dispose of your waste in a way that keeps it out of the landfills, actually creates a liquid that can be disposed of naturally. We've deployed a lot of those through the years. We've deployed a lot of them in the past year with Carnival Cruise Lines and some other people. The other part of our business and the other waste issue that we attack is the issue of municipal solid waste and where do communities go with it? And what do you do with it? And how do you keep it out of the landfill? And we have developed a plant. The shovel relates to a groundbreaking of a plant in Martinsburg, West Virginia. And at that plant, we convert municipal solid waste into a solid recovered fuel that can be used to replace coal. We believe it has other uses as a feedstock for production of other types of renewable energy. It's the first of its kind in the US. We're very proud of it. And we're learning a lot as we stand up the operations there. So those are the two pillars of our business that we're involved with most extensively at the moment.
Very cool. I love the circular economy system that you're developing. But you said you are working with Carnival Cruise Lines. You had just broke ground or at some point broke ground on a municipal waste facility. So it seems like you've experienced a good bit of growth and traction. So can you talk about the drivers of the growth that you're seeing and your perspective on how today's evolving macroeconomic fundamentals are shaping your strategy for capturing market share in the digester market in the future?
Okay, I can do that. I will tell you that when you look at our business and you look at our digester business, clearly one of the drivers of growth for us is the fact that business is opening up again. If our digester fleet that has been deployed, our technology that has been deployed, is basically going to double this year with the Carnival contract. But when you look at that fleet before, there was a good distribution between restaurants, hospitality, retail, hospital, government. There were a number of verticals that we operated in. You could tell that a few of those verticals have been interrupted in the past year and are certainly now poised to come back. So we think that's certainly a fundamental that is about to swing back in our favor because it's good for our customers. It'll be good for us. So we see that as a real fundamental of a regaining that. You know, the other thing that we see on the digester side of the business is it just feels like you have to be in the right place at the right time. There are regulations that are being put in place in different areas that impact what you do with food waste, which is a surprisingly large component of what goes into landfills in this country. And there's also a heightened awareness and a heightened responsibility that I think we all feel to address the food waste problem overall, because it just doesn't make sense for us to throw away so much food when there are so many people who are hungry or who are short. So the technology enables you to measure that, and what you can measure, you can control. So we're addressing fundamental macroeconomic factors, yes, but fundamental problems that we face as a globe. So we think that on the digester side of the business, we like the fact that we act on both ends of the spectrum here, and that if you do have to throw it away, well, then you can do it responsibly, because that's another factor. That's another thing that is shifting for us and becoming more important than it ever has. You know, if you look at the plant side of the business, one of the factors that really drives the opportunity to grow there is the fact that landfills are not being built at a record pace, if at all, in the country today. The ones that we have are full. You're hauling trash further. You're using more fossil fuels to do that. And there just needs to be a solution that takes that, which is going to be thrown away today, and converts it into something that has a useful purpose. Again, it feels like we're on trend with that. Certainly, we're addressing a problem. We're addressing a need that exists in our country today. So when we look at those factors, we think they position us for growth. The other thing, though, that always positions a company for growth, or is a requirement for growth, is you have to execute. And when I think about our business and where we stand today, the opportunity on the digester and technology part of the business to execute has been something we've actually experienced in 2020. We've actually been able to grow our business in 2020 and execute at scale. So we positioned ourselves during that period to do that very thing. And then with the plant facility itself, it's still in a commissioning phase. I mean, we're an early adopter here. We're an early pioneer of this technology. So we're learning, but we're doing, and we're making a really good fuel that's got a lot of possible use. So those are the things that we're doing to position ourselves for the growth. And we think the environment and the appropriate focus that we have as a country to do things in a more circular fashion, as you said, we think it positions us well if we do our job in this coming year and the years beyond.
That's fantastic. Thank you for that. And I guess my next question kind of follows on from that. As we all know, waste is a huge problem globally, and innovative solutions like yours are going to be really key to help solving our waste problem. And I think both sides of the business are, addressing different types of problems within waste, and they're both very important. But what needs to happen, maybe through regulation or economics, to really enable large-scale commercialization and adoption of technologies like this? So in other words, like, what key kind of triggers or milestones should we be looking out for?
I think you've well described waste as a global problem. It's a global problem that plays itself out in municipality after municipality, state after state. And there is a heightened emphasis that we see in states right now in saying, hey, it doesn't make sense to throw away this food or put it in the landfill. There are other regulations that need to be adopted here. There are other ways to do this. We want to keep it out. And that conversation, it feels to me like it has enlarged over the past several months. So we think that is in fact one of those things that needs to happen in our country. Landfill capacity, as I said before, and what communities do with their waste is a local issue. I mean, and in some part it has to become a household issue or a business operational issue as well. So we believe that as we look at that, and as you say, okay, there needs to be a large scale adoption of these pieces of business. Part of what we want to do is tell our story, because we believe that we offer solutions that work well with these issues. If you're a business operator and you create a quantity of food waste, first of all, you want to know that you're not throwing away any more than you should. You want to understand your supply chain. But then if you're going to have to do that, you want to do it in a way that's clean, in a way that's responsible, in a way that deals with the waste at its source. If you think about the consumer today, I think that consumer is going to be more focused on businesses operating responsibly and ethically. There will be a groundswell of emphasis on that from the consumers, from the voters. But also, if you're going to go eat in a restaurant, it's really nice to know that that's a clean environment, and there's a heightened awareness and desire for that than there ever has been. We deal with the waste where it's created, and we keep it from having to move through. So, our belief is that when you look at how you scale this and how you take the next steps with this, and what you see as a trigger for it, somebody has to go out and do it. I mean, that's why we did Martinsburg, West Virginia. That's why we used a shovel to break the ground. There has to be someone who goes out and says, hey, we can make a really good fuel out of this thing we were digging a hole in and putting in the ground. We can use that really good fuel to replace carbon based fuels in a way that will be good for the environment. So instead of digging a hole in the ground and burying it, you're now using it to replace something else that has a more harmful environmental impact. So we think that when you look at those things and you look at large scale adoption, we think large scale adoption, yeah, we would like that, but we understand that it has to work locally first. It has to serve people locally first. And we're really focused on that here. We think that as you solve big problems, you earn the right to solve big problems, and you earn the right to grow. And we're focused on doing that.
Yeah, I think that's great. I love how, I guess, at least on the municipal side, not only are you solving issues of waste and landfill, but you're also creating opportunities to solve other environmental challenges as well, such as fuel. So I love the kind of two-pronged aspect of that. I think that's really interesting.
And I feel like we just kind of touched the tip of the iceberg here, because anytime you're first at doing something, you may find that the fuel that you create has even broader application, has even broader use than what you realized at first. And we're excited by that. We think that this is a good thing for the environment. We think it's a good thing for the communities, and we're really excited to be a part of it as it rolls out.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So on the digester side, what other verticals do you see as significant growth opportunities? I know you mentioned a couple sectors that in the past year or so you haven't seen much activity, but moving forward, as we kind of enter a phase of economic recovery, where do you see some major growth opportunities? And also, I'd love to hear your answer on the municipal side as well, where the growth opportunities within municipalities.
On the equipment and technology digester side of the business first, I would tell you that yes, we've executed on a very large contract with Carnival, but there's a lot of other things on the oceans that have a need for a digester and a solution as well. Whether it's platforms, whether it's other ships, Carnival is a part of what's out there, but we know our solution serves that. So why wouldn't it serve the other things that are on the oceans or seas as well? We believe that there's an opportunity in the healthcare arena, certainly. That is consistent with an aging population, that is consistent with a lot of things that go on. And the ability for that sector to appropriately dispose of and manage their food supply just seems to make tremendous sense to us. So we're working hard on that. And it's not a new, but I think I can only answer this question by saying also, as the consumer comes back to the restaurants, as the consumer comes back to hospitality, as we see that coming back online, we've done pretty well during the pandemic. We've worked with our customers during the pandemic. We've learned a lot about our ability to deliver at scale. You know, we had the opportunity to do that last year. So we're not going to neglect any of those verticals because we think that we've honed the solution. We've strengthened our ability to deliver the product, and we understand so much more about how it can impact waste at its origin, that those are all really good things. The other thing I would tell you on the plant side of the business, and when you look at the opportunity to grow that, you know, I mentioned earlier that these are global issues, but they're local problems. So you have municipalities, you have states who are looking for solutions to this. And what I love is when you can take that which is being thrown away and redeem it to a different use that's better for the environment. So you have municipalities who are struggling with landfill capacity. You have recycling markets that are a lot different than they were a few years ago, that are begging for solutions. And we've got something that creates a clean place for that waste hauler to bring their waste in a contained environment, using technology, creating a fuel that is good for the environment and useful in many ways. We're getting a lot of interest from municipalities, from states, as to how we could bring the solution there. So we're learning a lot. We're building a foundation to grow and solve those problems locally. But that's what we're seeing. I mean, and it's been good.